What's up, everyone? It's 49ers After Dark. We have a shorter, abbreviated intro today because people were complaining. People like to complain about intros, so we changed it. Jesse's really good with that stuff. Jesse, my co-host, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Listen, I'm a man of the people. A lot of people said they wanted a shorter intro, so you've got a shorter intro. It is
You
what it
got a shorter
is.
intro. There you go. You got it. Anyway, before we start, Jesse is now a writer for all 49ers SI. Jesse is one of the most ambitious, up-and-coming, entrepreneurial, enterprising members of 49ers Twitter, and it's an honor to have him on the team. His first article came out yesterday, and it was fantastic. It was a column, an opinion piece saying why, really staking his flag in the ground, saying that Trey Lance is going to start week one, and I bought it. I like it. I'm into it now. So that's the backdrop. If you haven't read Jesse before, check it out.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, listen, I wish I would have been on the team back before the draft started because it would have been one of the few pieces saying that Lance is definitely the guy. But,
Yep.
you know, I've obviously been on Team Lance the whole time. Once we drafted him, I turned my sights to him starting week one because nobody believed it was possible. So let's just keep the train rolling.
Yeah. All right. So Trey Lance is getting some buzz. George Kittle is impressed.
Yes.
Says that Trey Lance can be special. He's talking a lot about Lance. Remember when Kittle used to go on radio and talk about Garoppolo all the time?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Man, that's our quarterback. And I don't know
Yep.
why people are down on him and we can win with him. Now it's Lance, and Lance. Have you seen Lance? He's pretty good. What do you think of Trey Lance talking of George Kittle talking up Trey Lance English?
Well, here was this specific quote that caught my eye. It says, I think Trey has all the attributes to be a special quarterback. He takes risks. He's trying to fit the ball. Yeah, this is weird the way it's written, but he's trying to fit the ball into small windows. I'm excited to see his progress throughout training camp. He's definitely in the right spot. So immediately when I read this, I went back to training camp and what you had said about how impressed you were that he had hit Kittle deep along the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
He's not used to that. He hasn't gotten that at all in his whole career. I mean, let's really look at all the quarterbacks he's played with. He's been in the league only a few years, and he hasn't played with any strong arm quarterbacks that could even think of making a throw like that. So the fact that he's got this now at his disposal, and he's trying to have not only a redemption year for the team, but a redemption year for himself, quite frankly, and he sees this young, live arm quarterback come in and can make these throws that he's not used to getting, I think that he's salivating at it. And it is funny because you said that it used to be Jimmy that he would do this with. And he doesn't speak bad about Jimmy.
No.
But he also doesn't vacation with Jimmy. So
it's not about
that's
Jimmy
all we
anymore.
need to know.
And look, a lot of people were thinking, I don't know, there's a narrative like, well, they like Jimmy and they're boys with Jimmy. That's their brother. They've been through this and that. It's a business. It's a meritocracy. It's a sport. And they're going to fall behind whichever quarterback is better. And they're going to all figure out who that is pretty quickly. This reminds me of the Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick thing. There were a lot of people loyal to Alex Smith. Now, Crabtree never liked him, but Vernon Davis did. Vernon Davis and Frank Gore were extremely loyal to Alex Smith. Joe Staley, too. Those are guys that went through tough years with him, grew up with him. And then when they saw what Colin Kaepernick could do, they were like, hey, Alex, we love you, man, but Colin's the quarterback. And I'll never forget it. After the first start that Colin had when he eviscerated the Bears, especially on those first couple of drives with just piercing downfield throws that Alex Smith wouldn't even attempt. After the game, like Vernon Davis, the former 85, came to the post-game press conference and was like giddy. It was almost like, when you meet a new girl or something, it's like, yeah, he really throws down the field well. I think he compared him to Tom Brady. He reminds me of Tom Brady. The way he throws the ball reminds like, wow. Yeah, nothing personal, Alex. It's just they know who's better. They know who the better athlete is. So they're saying, oh, he throws the ball into tight windows. Yeah, man. What he's saying is he thinks Trey Lance is going to improve his career.
Absolutely. And I mean, I also remember you talking, this was many months ago, but somebody had asked you a question. This was around the time that I started watching you. And somebody had asked you a question about, well, what's going to happen if they move on from Jimmy? Like, think about it from Kittle's perspective. And you said, listen, this is a business. Kittle doesn't care as long as somebody can get him the ball. That's all that he cares about.
Like,
And
he's
that's it.
boys
I
with
mean, that's
CJ
exactly
Beathard too, but
right.
like, that's not they'll be boys no matter what. Doesn't mean he
Right.
needs him on the team.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. Yeah. It's a profession, and you get paid off of numbers. And I know that him and Kelsey are boys, but internally, he's very competitive. I have people that I'm friends with or that I admire that I'm trying to compete with. And, I look at what they're doing and I'm trying to outdo them. It's no different. I mean, he trains with Kelsey in the offseason. He knows all the love that Kelsey gets. He wants to be the man. And in order to be the alpha, he's watching Mahomes throw darts all over the field and making Kelsey's job easier while he's getting 4-yard hitches and having to turn it into 16 yards, dragging 2 people on his back. He's tired of it. I mean, now that he's seen the other side, it's like his eyes are opened.
Yeah, and Kittle's a baller. I mean, he's one of the best athletes in the NFL. Elite athletes identify other elite athletes. And he could like Jimmy Garoppolo, but no one's ever going to confuse Jimmy Garoppolo with an elite athlete or quarterback. No. He's saying this guy has a chance to be special. That's a special person saying someone else has a chance to be special. I'd be I'd take that to heart if I were Trey and I would be thankful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think this is good news for the 49ers. Or it could just be George Kittle going on the radio and saying things that make people feel good. I don't know. George
Kittle saying George Kittle things.
Exactly. I'm going to go with the first one. Speaking of Trey Lance, now Kyle Shanahan is saying that he's open to a quarterback competition. Here's the timeline. They take Trey Lance, and John Lynch says, and Jed York, Jimmy Garoppolo could be a starter for the next 2 years. Kyle says, yeah, we really want to focus more on teaching him than him competing. Now they're saying, well, we technically installed the whole offense. He technically knows it all. And they're basically saying, well, it's the funniest thing. He's now ready to compete. We didn't anticipate it, but hey, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, first of all, when everything happened in the beginning and the way that they were talking, that's what you should say about a rookie quarterback. You don't want to put any pressure on him. There's already enough there, being that you traded all those picks to get him. And there's no reason to put more pressure on him. That being said, now that they've seen him operate and realize just how quickly he picks up this offense and how smart he is in that area, and then they see his live arm, and you've got teammates working out with him and teammates talking very highly of him, it's only a matter of time. And get on the train now. It's not too late, guys. I've been telling you for weeks. Lance will start week 1. And our head coach is now coming around to the idea that this is also a possibility. So,
and again, I saw it with Colin Kaepernick. The team just gravitated to him. They were like, you know what, Alex, we love you. You got a great story. You're a good guy. You give us a chance to win. We all think he gives us a better chance to win right now. And we're all very excited about where we can go with him and the money that he can help us make. That's the way I always interpreted it. So it's not necessarily anything personal against Jimmy, but you can sort of feel that everyone thinks that Trey Lance is going to help them make money, which is the most important thing, help him win, help him make money. But also they know he's going to be the leader of this team soon. That Jimmy Garoppolo is, you remember Back to the Future when he goes back and he keeps messing with the past and he looks at his Polaroid and his brother's disappearing. That's Jimmy. Jimmy is just like the sandals and, the shorts, and he's fading away. So you can look, Jimmy, we always loved you, but we're eventually going to have to go all in with Trey. And if he gives us any reason to think that he's close to ready, we're going to jump on that bandwagon right now.
Yeah, of course. And now he was careful to say that, hey, we anticipate Jimmy being the starter, but if he's ready to compete, he's ready to compete. It doesn't matter if he's a rookie. None of that matters. So
he's still what they want to anticipate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If it's a competition, then anything could happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I got a question for you.
Sure.
And I know that you talked about this a little bit earlier, but I want to have the conversation. Why are you so bullish on getting rid of Jimmy if Trey Lance is the starter?
I'd get rid of him. I'd get rid of him before the season starts. As long as Trey Lance can show that he's ready enough to be serviceable, which is what
Yeah.
Jimmy is, I'd go for it. I mean, if Jimmy were still at the same pay scale he was at 2 years ago, I would keep him. I don't think people talk enough about like the cost of these quarterbacks. It's not just how good a quarterback is, it's how much you're paying for that value.
Yeah.
And I think Jimmy Garoppolo at 8.6% of the salary cap is fair. That's a good number for him. Problem is he's at 13.5% right now because it went up. They were expecting he was going to be elite and the cap went down. And I just feel like giving one serviceable player that big of a percentage of the pie takes you out of the game. You might make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going anywhere with him taking up that space. Because even if he plays well, he's not going to play well enough for 13.5%. And if he gets hurt, now that's dead money. Now that's all money that you can't put anywhere else on your roster. I think they'd be better served, even now after Julio Jones is gone and Bashaud Breeland's gone. Get rid of Jimmy and bring in Stephon Gilmore. Bring in Melvin Ingram. There are guys out there that you could bring in, multiple guys that would make this team better. I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to argue that. When you first started saying it, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, but what's the point? I mean, who's really out there to get it this late in the game? But there are guys. You're right. Yeah. There are depth pieces. There are good veterans. There are guys that, frankly, could start on this team if they are brought over. And not only has no team ever won with a quarterback making over 13%?
13.1. It was
13.1.
Steve Young did it in the first year of the salary cap. Every year since then, it's been lower.
Okay. All right. Well, to me, I mean, the sample hasn't even really started until at least year 2 in a situation like that. So we can count it, but I'm not going to.
Good point.
So I guess my thought about that is, if that's never been done and a rookie quarterback has never won a Super Bowl, maybe it's possible you get one of them off your back and you can make it happen. But both of them, if Lance is starting, he's a rookie, and you've got a quarterback on the team making over 13%, there's no way you're shaking both of those in 1 year.
I don't understand that. Having Jimmy Garoppolo make $27 million on the bench?
Yeah.
No, just cut him and then trade for Stephon Gilmore. Honestly, trade for Stephon Gilmore. Why not? It's a 1-year rental.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then you can extend Warner. You can do all kind of stuff. I mean, you can really just spend irresponsibly at that point. That's the best thing about having a quarterback on a rookie scale. You just throw money around.
Well, I mean, really, even if you don't go sign players, there's a few things that you can do. I mean, you can offset future contracts. Now you can go to an Armstead and say, hey, let's front load this thing.
Yes.
You can do the same thing with trying to re-sign Warner. Yep. Hey, let's just front load this thing. We'll make you cheap the next couple of years, whatever, however that works. But at the end of the day, you can help the team long term by letting Jimmy go. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of going over it.
Barry Baller makes a good point too. Yeah. So even if you don't get Gilmore, you just create $25 million in cap space that rolls over to next year. So
it does.
I say do it, especially if Trey Lance wins the competition.
Yeah. And that can happen next year also, Bay. But I get your point, because it's more likely this late in the game that if you cut Jimmy as we get closer to the season, that you're going to roll over a big chunk of that, and you're going to have that extra money going into the next season. Sure, you could cut him next season, and if you don't spend it all, you can roll that over as well. But the likelihood of that happening is slim to none. And I think we should explain that real quick, just real quick in layman's terms. Let's say the salary cap's $200 million. And you spend $185 million this year. You have $15 million remaining. Next year, if the cap is still $200 million, you essentially have $215 million as your cap, while everybody else is playing with $200 million. So that's what he's talking about there. I know that the salary cap can be a kind of a goofy thing to mess around with, but that's the way that it works. So
yeah. So I really think the way the Niners become a Super Bowl contender this year is for Trey Lance to show that he's a good quarterback now, that he's ready. Not great, but good. And they get rid of Jimmy, and they either replace his salary caps money with someone else. Yeah. I think if they could do that, they'd be a Super Bowl contender, even with a rookie. And what I want to say is, I think a rookie quarterback will win a Super Bowl before Jimmy Garoppolo wins one, taking up 13.5% of any team's cap. That's just exorbitant. Really, any quarterback. I think a rookie's going to do it before any quarterback does it at that high. Because look at it. Look at it. I mean, you have guys like Mahomes and Brady who are willing to restructure. Mahomes just restructured. He's back at 4%. That's dangerous. Brady restructures every year. He's at 5.8%. How do you compete with that? They're the best. And you got freaking Aaron Rodgers refusing to restructure, taking up 20%. Hey, Aaron, that's your freaking problem right there. That's it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I actually looked into it. Only 4 times since 1993 has a quarterback who was not Hall of Fame caliber has that quarterback won a Super Bowl. 4 times since 1993. So
it's not as simple as get a cheap quarterback.
It's not. It's not as simple as get a cheap quarterback.
You have to have a great quarterback who's affordable, which is like, hey, good luck.
But when you have guys that are already established Hall of Famers, a la Tom Brady, making rookie salary money, good luck beating that.
It's hard to compete. That's why the way I feel like the only way any team in the NFC can compete with Tampa is to have a rookie wage scale quarterback and a loaded team. And the Niners have it.
Yep.
They freaking have it. You know who else has it? Arizona. You know who else has it is New Orleans, because Taysom Hill is not expensive. So to me, it's Tampa, and then Arizona, San Francisco, New Orleans kind of lingering. I don't take Seattle or LA or the Green Bay Packers seriously. I think they're way too top heavy. Way too top heavy. So those are the teams I'm thinking. I think the Niners could be right there, but it's got to be with Trey. It's got to be with Trey, not with Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, I always take Seattle seriously just because of Russell Wilson, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, let me amend what I say.
Long term,
they're good.
Playoff ready. Yeah,
they'll win 12 games and make the playoffs, but they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
No, they're not. They're not. Definitely not. The Rams, though, I still think they're the worst team in this division.
The Goff dead money, man. I mean, they're spending a ton of money on Goff to play for Detroit. I think they're spending more money on Goff than Detroit is.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, they got quarterbacks on two different cities. All right, one more Lance topic. He is working out with Mohamed Sanu. You think this is significant?
I think it's extremely significant. It's not just Sanu. Before the rookie OTAs, he was working with Brandon Ayuk. Then he vacations with Kittle.
That's true.
Now he's working out with Sanu. The only guy that he hasn't worked out with on a one-on-one basis is Deebo Samuel. So if we're projecting Sanu to be the starter, and at this point I am, then you've got 3 of your 4 starting weapons you've worked out with and built a personal relationship with.
That's a good point.
That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. And he's so smart about this. This is so calculated. This whole thing is so calculated. He's trying to learn a playbook. He goes back and works with his quarterback coaches, Quincy Avery, Sean McAvoy, and he brings a veteran receiver with him who knows the offense, can help him. Hey, this is what the routes are going to look like. This is what the speed's going to look like. All of those things. And by the way, we're going to build a rapport together. Yeah, this is top-notch things.
Hold on. So real quick. So he has Sanu, who's been with Shanahan since Atlanta back in the days, 2016.
Yeah.
And then who was the wide receiver at his pro day?
Oh yeah. That was what the heck was his name?
Matthews.
He's been sitting on our team off and on for like 2 years. Yeah.
Same idea. So someone who's got real good knowledge, a vet of Shanahan's offense. So it seems like Trey Lance is as advertised in terms of decision making. I mean, these are all very smart, heady, mature things that not all 21-year-olds would do. I mean, what the hell is Jimmy doing this offseason?
I don't know.
No one says. No one cares. Yeah. Jimmy, are you organizing? Are you working? Or are you just kind of waiting for Trey to take your job so you can leave?
Yeah.
If I were him, I might be waiting for Trey to take my job. I don't know. I just said it. But it's like he's already made $87 million. He's probably not happy here. He knows the coach doesn't like him. He knows it's a matter of time. All right, man, would you just cut me now? Like Antonio Brown, like with the Raiders. Would you just let me go, please? But I don't know.
Or maybe he is happy here. Maybe he's fine being the backup. Maybe he doesn't want that pressure. I mean, I said it before the draft. If he has to have a quarterback competition, he's going to fold. I don't think mentally he's ready for that game. I haven't seen anything from Jimmy that tells me he's a mentally strong guy. And it's no offense. I think he's a consummate pro. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a great teammate. But I do not think he's mentally strong and fighting through adversity. I haven't seen it yet. So prove me wrong.
Did he fight through adversity last year? Did he fight through adversity?
No. Absolutely.
When has he ever fought through adversity? When has he had adversity until recently? No, yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So I don't like it. Yeah, I mean, until you can prove me wrong, that's my opinion and my thought about you. And so, yeah, if this is a legitimate QB competition, he might just be okay fading into the background, to be real with you. And if he comes off the bench, Lance gets hurt, something like that, maybe that's all the pressure he needs taken off of his shoulders.
Maybe. Or maybe they'll just cut him or trade him, let him go.
That'd
That'd be one
possible.
Really expensive backup, man.
Yeah,
really expensive backup.
It would.
Jimmy, I have a feeling he'd like to leave, but he ended up getting $90 million from the 49ers, so it wasn't all bad.
He'd also like to make $27 million.
It's true.
Good point. If he gets cut, he's only going to make probably 8 somewhere else, plus the 2.5 the Niners owe him. So yeah, that's a lot of money.
Here's what he has to think about, honestly, as a 29-year-old, almost getting to 30. It's like, okay, I have $90 million in the bank. 27 million would be great, but now I need to start weighing this against my happiness. Would it be better for me to get? Not that it's really his choice, but would I rather get the hell out of here and go somewhere that wants me, coach who likes me, and they pay me $15 million a year instead of 27? I'll be happier. Those are grown man decisions, man. Those are grown man decisions you got to make, and only he knows the answer.
That's true. That's a very good point. Yeah. But again, we're not talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick here. We're talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. Does he really like playing football as much as some of these other guys? That
I have my questions.
Yeah,
I have my doubts.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I know George Kittle does. How many guys fought back from injury last year to play week 16, week 17 when they were out of it? I mean, Kittle, Ward, a lot of guys. I'm not saying that Garoppolo should have or could have, but I just know that he didn't. So,
yeah.
Okay, moving on. We've talked about this before, but CBS says the 49ers are a trade destination for Stephon Gilmore. Do you buy this?
Man, I don't know if I buy it. I do buy that the 49ers are in the market for a corner of some sort. I just don't know if what it will take to get Gilmore is enough to pull the trigger. Now, if this was 2 months ago and they hadn't drafted Mac Jones yet and we could have pulled off a Jimmy G for Gilmore type trade, something like that, they would have been into it. But now you're going to have to give up a 2nd round pick for a rental player. That's kind of rough, man. They're going to have to replace that whole secondary basically in the offseason. And if you have to give up a 2nd round pick, you now don't have a 1st, you don't have a 2nd. Again, if Ambry Thomas or Lenore or both don't pan out, how are you going to replace a whole secondary on the fly? That's going to be a tough proposition with no assets to do so.
I hear you.
I would do it
anyway because here's the thing. All right. You're right. Okay. You're trading away the 1st round pick, 2nd round pick. At a certain point, enough's enough. But you got Stephon Gilmore. All right. He's a 1-year rental. What you're going to do is cut Jimmy Garoppolo, get rid of him. And now, again, you're working with 10% more cap space than the rest of the league because you have a quarterback on a rookie scale. So all of a sudden, maybe you can re-sign Stephon Gilmore or Verrett, or you could get someone who's younger. I mean, yeah, you're hurting on draft picks, but you're not hurting with cap space. And you've become this team, theoretically, if Trey Lance plays well, that free agents want to play with, even though it's in the South Bay, which is expensive and high taxes and stuff. Still, I think people would want to sign up to play with Trey Lance if there's cap space and he's good.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think that it would be a good pickup.
Yeah.
In the short term, but I'm thinking long term because, again, I guess my whole stance has always been this. I think the 49ers are a very good team, but they are not I don't think they're as win now as people want to portray them to be. Okay.
Unless Trey Lance can be the first rookie of all time to win the Super Bowl, I'm probably not going to win the Super Bowl this year. That's how I feel. I don't know if you feel that way.
Right. Yeah. And that's where I'm at.
Year.
So
maybe next year, maybe year 3.
Exactly. So going all in this year, giving up more draft capital, it just doesn't entice me as much as it would if this was next year and Gilmore was available or somebody like Gilmore was available. I'd say, yeah, do it. But right now, I don't think that they're in as win now mode as what people want to think that they are.
Also, can we look at this from New England's perspective? Like, Why do they want to get rid of Gilmore now? Or wouldn't it be a kind of thing where they would evaluate where they are at the trade deadline? Are we contenders? Are we not? Because they might suck.
Yeah.
I mean, they might freaking suck. They weren't good last year.
Yeah,
Belichick could be
you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
deadline deal.
You're absolutely right. I think whether it's Gilmore or somebody else, and let's say Gilmore is on the block at the deadline versus now, you're going to get him for cheaper than probably a second rounder. At that point, you probably could cough up a third or a fourth just because they're trying to get out from under the cap, or maybe he never showed up and now it's time to just get rid of him. I don't know. But at any rate, you're going to get players usually cheaper at the deadline if you're a contender and a team's not necessarily as good as what they expected to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thank you for the idea. Darren F. Baker. I don't know who you are, but whenever I see Darren F. Baker in here, I think of Dusty Baker's son, who almost got trampled by JT Snow.
Yeah.
Remember?
I remember he had to pull him off the home plate. Yeah.
That dude, I think he's a professional baseball player now. He went to Cal. He was, I think, a second baseman at Cal. I don't know what position he played, but it's probably not Dusty Baker's son in the chat. But I just want to let you know that that's what I think about when I see you. So
way to make me feel old. I remember that.
Oh yeah. That guy's probably like 37 now. No. So this is really interesting. Mike Mcglinchey, who was so defensive last year, still here, yada, 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 just a couple plays, armchair quarterbacks, now came out with like a whole confessional thing saying, you know what, I wasn't that great last year, and it was really tough, and I was underweight, and I needed to get stronger, and you know what, I am. I put on 15 pounds. I'm 315 again. I mean, he said he could have put on 25 pounds given where he ended last year, and he says he's much stronger. What do you think of Mike Mcglinchey's what do you think of that?
Well, first of all, it's a good thing that he's putting on weight. So let me give him his credit. He turned some of that negativity or his perceived negativity into something that's making him better. Okay. Mm-hmm. But him also coming out and admitting that he fired back too much or he listened to the critics too much. No. That means that you believed what they were telling you. Because I don't get upset. I think it's funny when people come at me on Twitter or Facebook or social media or anything like that and say that my stuff sucks or whatever, right? I actually think it's pretty funny. And a lot of times I'll oblige them. I'll like the comment. I'll retweet the comment, whatever that is. But that's because I don't believe it in my heart, right? I know what I'm worth. I know what I bring to the table. Mike Mcglinchey, however, that hit him in his heart because he knew it was true. He knew that he didn't come in shape. He knew that he didn't do what he needed to do to be successful and help this team win. And he knew that he wore that captain on his shirt, that Captain C on his shirt, when he really probably honestly didn't deserve it last year.
Agree.
So let's see if you can earn it this year. And let's see if you can bounce back. Because for all intents and purposes, he's a good run blocking tackle. He was a decent, at least he was serviceable the year prior. Last year, he was atrocious. At least get back to being serviceable. That's all we need from you.
Yeah. I want to praise Mike. I mean, I feel like what I was doing last year, what I've been doing since he's been drafted is pointing out, trying to educate the fans. Like, this was a first round pick. He gets a lot of hype. He has major weaknesses, and I want you to understand so other people on the team aren't blamed for what he's doing wrong. I was trying to educate, but then it went way beyond that. I mean, I think I got my point across, and it went to just totally belittling him, which was funny at times. I mean, I did it better than, artfully sometimes not so much. But I want to just come back to the point. The original point was just to educate the fans so that you knew what to look for. You can watch the tape. You can see it in slow motion. This is Mike getting beat. And he acknowledges the stuff we pointed out. He's like, you know what? I wasn't strong enough. I got to get stronger. Yeah, that's all I ever wanted to say. I made the point a million times. You got it. And good. I mean, now all Niner fans know what to look for with Mike Mcglinchey. They know exactly what to look for. I don't need to yell it anymore. He doesn't need to say it. They're going to see if he gets knocked down 2 times a game by DBs and stuff. I mean, they'll just see it. So everyone knows it was a strength issue. Mike knows it. You know it. We don't have to belabor the point anymore. Thank you, Mike.
Did anybody else in 49er media really even call those things out. I mean, I felt like he was talking directly to you, really.
Yes.
Because
So
who else?
maybe I
Who else
needed to
calls
go
it
that
out?
hard. Maybe I needed to go that hard. But all I want to say is that's the past. He got the message. Niner fans know the deal, and they don't. I don't have to say a word anymore.
No.
If he plays well, Niner fans will know it. If he plays poorly, Niner fans will know why, and I'll just be like, so Mike, I'm out. I did my part. You got the picture. You're doing things right. We'll see if it works. Because the Niner fans are keenly aware of what to look for now, which is good because they're very smart, and we helped.
Can I say this? Persist, bro. I got to give you mad love every single chat, whether it's my show, Grant's show. I see Where's Chardal every single time. Hats off to you, man.
I can't wait to see Chardal this weekend because I'm not 100% sure if the Chardal on Twitter is the real Chardal. There's no way to confirm other than asking him. So okay. I can't wait.
I thought I had found Chardal 2 weeks ago, and I tweeted it out. The guy looked like him. The Chardal on Twitter.
Yeah.
Chardal the original, right? So this was a couple weeks ago, and Bay actually came out yesterday and said that he thinks that guy that I was following is the Chardal, but I'm not so sure anymore. Now this new Chardal has shown up. Sometimes I think it's him, and sometimes I don't. Yeah.
With Chardal. But even if it is someone pretending to be Chardal, it's kind of hilarious that he's on that burner account status. I mean,
he is. Yeah, I'm not really on burner account status, so Chardal's amazing.
He's great, man. Gotta love Chardal. Shout out Chardal if you're watching. Please, let us know if that's you. There is someone named Chardal 49ers pretending to be you if it's not. So let us know. I'll ask you. I hope you're watching. You usually watch anyway. Anyway. Am I not your favorite show anymore, Chardal?
What did that comment say? I don't think we read it. Sorry.
Hold on, let me try. So I didn't read it at all. Okay, hold on. Trey Niner said, if the 49ers felt they really needed a cornerback, why did they make it a priority in the draft? I think they feel they are good at the position. Yeah, but they're not. They're one injury to Jason Verrett away from being in a bad spot. Maybe they feel if he gets hurt, they can make a move at that point. Also, I think the reason that they haven't gotten rid of Jimmy Garoppolo yet is Trey needs to beat him out for the sake of the whole locker room.
Yeah.
Just giving it to Trey, I think, would be tough.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. They may think they're okay, but they're definitely not okay at that position. They are not okay at that position. Just like they don't think the injuries are an issue. It's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this team is that deep. It's like the team is, if all the starters stay healthy, they'll be good. Well, most of the starters are injury prone and the depth is questionable because the quarterback is making so much money. Not to mention the left tackle. I mean, between the left tackle and the quarterback, that's 25% of the cap right there. So God forbid any of those two miss games. I mean, if Trent Williams and Jimmy Garoppolo missed the same game, that'd be such a disadvantage for the 49ers just financially.
Yeah, absolutely. Ridiculous.
Anyway, all right.
They're deep at wide receiver number 3. That's helpful, I guess.
They got so many options at wide receiver number 3. And yet it's going to be Mohamed Sanu. Okay. Final topic. PFF, my favorite place, has put together a list of the top players in the NFL under 25. 2 Niners made it. Number 1 on the list was Fred Warner.
Yeah. So here's the list. They had Fred Warner number 1, Josh Allen number 2, Lamar Jackson number 3.
Fred Warner over both of them, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of great. At first, when I read it, I thought it was a defensive list, or when I read the article, and then I went and actually looked at it for myself.
I'm going to have to go and disagree with them on that one. I'm going to have to be like Bill Lumberg in Office Space. Ooh, yeah.
I love Fred Warner. Come in on Saturday.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to have to sort of disagree with you there. But okay.
So Warner 1, Allen 2, Lamar Jackson 3, A.J. Brown 4,
ooh.
Bosa 5,
A.J. Brown,
Jair Alexander 6, Minkah Fitzpatrick 7.
Wow.
Chase Young 8, Justin Jefferson 9, and Tristan Wirfs 10. Jair Alexander below Bosa. That's
Tristan Wirfs 10. That one hurts.
Yeah.
That one hurts.
That one does hurt. Because that could have been Kinlaw.
Could have been, yeah. Okay, so Bosa at 5 he's such a how do you rank Bosa? Bosa's so hard. He played 1 year, he didn't play the next. He's had 3 major surgeries. He's 23 years old. He could be number 1 on the list. He could be not in the top 10 at all. He's a real tough one, man.
If he had played last year, I think he would have been probably top 3. He would have been a little bit higher, but
he didn't.
Where he's at, I would move him 1 spot lower. Jair Alexander to me is right now. I think he's already the best corner in the league,
and he's proved it for multiple years, right?
Yeah, and
so
he's
I'm with
6th.
you on that.
So
I would have to drop Bosa down with the caveat that he could bump right up to the top as soon as this year. So nothing personal. I'd like to see him prove it more than once.
Yeah, it's health with him. It's definitely health. It's certainly not a talent thing. So if he can stay healthy, now Warner though being number 1, that's wild to me. I don't know. I don't agree with a lot of what PFF says this offseason. And I love that they have Warner at 1. The homer in me would love to believe it, but Josh Allen, come on, it's Josh frickin' Allen. He is so good. He's also so
Lamar
good.
Jackson. Lamar Jackson won an MVP. Did Josh Allen win it last year? No, it was Rodgers. But was he number 2? I mean, he's MVP caliber. Lamar Jackson's really freaking good.
Yeah.
So is Fred Warner. PFF always does stuff like that. They're basically doing is they're trying to promote their own grading system, and somehow his grade was so high. That's cool. I'm not going to quibble with it. I like Fred Warner. Good for him. Respect, man.
The one thing that I'll say is that they kind of contradict themselves, because I was going to give them an out and say, well, maybe they think that Warner's the best linebacker in the game, which I can't argue with that. And Josh Allen's maybe the 4th, 5th best quarterback or whatever rank they have him at. So maybe that's the reasoning. But then Bosa certainly isn't the best pass rusher in the game, and Jair Alexander is arguably the best corner. So that wouldn't make a lot of sense to me either.
Also, what about Devon White?
Devon White's really good. Really good.
I feel like Devon White is a split on him. Like the advanced stat people don't like him, and people that just go off the eye test are really into him. And I really like Devon White.
Yeah, Devon White. But he also plays with another stud himself. So it's
true.
Which one of them is it? Or is it both of them? You know what I mean? So Fred Warner's kind of a lone wolf. I mean, we love Greenlaw, but I mean, ask Rich Madrid. Greenlaw is overrated. I don't believe that, by the way. I think
like good. Fred Warner is really good in coverage. A lot of his lore is the coverage stuff, and he's great in it. But he's not like straight up in man-to-man coverage all the time.
Right.
He does a lot in zone coverage. He's almost like the middle linebacker version of Richard Sherman. He can read the plays as they happen. He can break quickly from zone. He's very freaking tall, standing right in front of you. It's tough to throw over him, around him. He's very, very good. But I'll take Josh Allen. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, talk about a there's no way that a linebacker, no matter how he could be the best linebacker of all time, you're not a game changer the way that an elite quarterback is, no matter what.
And I want to come to other people on this list. Deebo Samuel's a hell of a player, and Vish just loves him. Vish thinks he's the key to the whole offense.
Yeah.
I think he's very good too, but he's a gadget player, and he's got injury issues that go back. A.J. Brown, he was there. The Niners took Deebo over him, and A.J. Brown is just, I mean, if he had ended up having a Hall of Fame career, would you be surprised?
No.
And I think he was kind of a no-brainer coming. I loved AJ. What could you not like about
He's
AJ
better
Brown?
than DK Metcalf.
I think he's better than DK Metcalf. That's another. Yeah. Did DK Metcalf not make the top 10?
No, not the top 10.
That's tough, man. I didn't like DK coming out, but wow, you can't really argue with what he's able to do. So there's a lot of good players under 25. The fact that the Niners have 2 of them up there is cool. They could have had 3. AJ Brown was right there, man.
They really could have. You know, it's funny because AJ Brown, so as good as I am at I believe at evaluating quarterbacks, I'm terrible at evaluating receivers. Like
hard.
I'm not good at it. But AJ Brown is a guy that I really wanted the 49ers to get. He's so good. And he is better than Metcalf. I mean, let's not forget that they played together in college. Yeah. So the last 4 years, final 2 years in college and the first 2 years in the NFL, A.J. Brown has been over 1,000 yards all 4 of those years.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf has only eclipsed 1,000 yards one time. And A.J. Brown was the one that was drawing all the top corners in college. It wasn't DK Metcalf.
That's true.
So A.J. Brown is the better player out of those two.
Agree. So the Niners could have had him. Could they have had Jair Alexander? I think they could have.
I don't remember. I'd have to look at that one.
Hold on. Let's look it up. I don't want to let the Niners off the hook here because good job. You got two. But Jair Alexander, hold on. He might have been picked after McGlinchey.
I feel like Alexander was in the same one as Bosa. No, he wasn't with Bosa.
No, he was the 18th pick in 2018. The Niners took Mike McGlinchey over Jair Alexander. So this is why I come down so hard on Mike. It's like, you were the 9th pick in the draft, man. You got to be really, really, really good. And if you're not, I mean, Solomon Thomas got it. Alex Smith got it. It's just part of the territory. So I know it's tough, man, but this is you're a multi-millionaire young man who plays in the NFL. It's not personal. I've made it personal at times, but I'm trying to tell you it's not. Jair Alexander shouldn't be on this team. Theoretically, the Niners could have Patrick Mahomes. He's not under 25. But they could have Patrick Mahomes. Should have him. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Jair Alexander, A.J. Brown. And they'd be the greatest team of all time.
Yeah.
But no.
Well, to be fair, I don't think they would have got Bosa. If they had all those other guys, they would not have been the second pick. There's no way. But there were other good players in that draft that they could have had as well, So I would give
Mahomes.
up.
They got Lance anyway. Who cares?
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Let me ask you real quick. This is a bonus topic. Do you think Lance and Mahomes have things in common? If so, why? Or is that just not fair?
No, I mean, I think they do. I think they have some things in common. I think off-platform.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I compared most. I figured Russell Wilson, Mahomes, Rodgers, those are the guys that I look at as far as off-platform throwers. And when I looked at Lance, I saw exactly that, especially being able to keep that arm strength no matter what. Now he doesn't have the arm angles that Mahomes has. His arm is very strong. It's not as strong as Mahomes, but I also think that he's more athletic than Mahomes is. So yeah, there are some similarities, but there's definitely a lot of differences there as well.
I think, I mean, I don't think he's going to be the passer that Mahomes is, and Mahomes won't be the runner that Lance is. But I think what they have in common, I think Lance has more in common with Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is such a runner. I mean, he's great at it. He's the best ball carrier in the NFL. But Lance, I think, he's going to run probably not 10 times a game, probably not 11 times a game. I would think he would run 3-4 times a game, 5 times a game, which is great. Yeah. And those will be crucial first downs and maybe touchdowns. But the way he uses his mobility as a passer is going to be more like Mahomes in the sense of extending plays, the Russell Wilson stuff, the Kyler Murray stuff, the Josh Allen stuff. Because I'm starting to look at quarterbacks from a defensive perspective, from like Robert Saleh's perspective. He wasn't worried about Drew Brees.
No.
I mean, he shut down Drew Brees last year. If the quarterback can't move, Robert Saleh has a million ways to take you out. As soon as the quarterback can break the pocket and extend the play, Robert Saleh is mortal. Is he not?
Everybody is, because now you're playing 11 on 11. 11 on 11 is a lot different when it's 11 on 10. Once you add in that element of running, all bets go out the window. And that's exactly why the 49ers couldn't take Mac Jones. They need that element.
It gives you nothing off schedule. No. And I think it used to be you need to be able to win from the pocket. There is no pocket anymore. What pocket? The pocket breaks down in a second and a half. And the only pocket quarterbacks who are good are the ones that get rid of the ball instantly. And those guys, how many guys can do that? They're all like 40 years old. They all have 20 years of experience. Jimmy can't do it.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that the more important, I mean, you want to be proficient from the pocket, but Lamar Jackson's good enough. You need to be good enough from the pocket. You really need to be able to give stuff off schedule. And that's what Trey Lance is going to be able to do. Honestly, the thing with Justin Fields, he didn't seem that good off schedule. No. He seemed very good from the pocket, very accurate. He could execute, and he could execute quarterback-driven runs. But once it was off script, I didn't trust him at all. And I didn't think he knew what he wanted to do.
No.
Yeah.
I think he made poor decisions in those moments. In those split second decision-making moments, he made poor decisions. And that's the other thing that I think, at least now, separates Trey and Mahomes. Now, Kittle says that Trey takes a lot of chances in practice. So maybe my thought of him is wrong, but from what I've seen of him on film, he's not a risk taker. He protects the ball very well. Mahomes at heart is a gunslinger. He's got that mentality. And I haven't seen that from Trey. Not yet. Trey may have that and he may be that, but right now I haven't seen that part of his game.
That's a good distinction. Yeah, that's definitely a good distinction.
He has the skill set to be one, but that just doesn't seem to be in his personality as of yet.
Yeah, and if he's being more risky in practice, that could just be, I mean, that's where you want to be risky. That's where you learn what you can get away with. And also he's adjusting to the speed of the game. He's going to need to know what he can get away with, what windows he can fit his 60-mile-an-hour fastball in there, which is, I think, what he's throwing. He's got a cannon, man. I watched Colin Kaepernick. I watched this guy throw, and I'm like, when he wants to, it's a wow. It's a wow. I like watching him.
Yeah.
Jordan has one quick question. If the Niners trade Jimmy and Trey, worst case scenario, got injured during the season, would it be an automatic Kyle firing or give him another excused year? I like Rosen. I think Rosen's a hell of a backup.
Yeah, I'm cool with Rosen. I really am cool with Rosen. I'm just fine riding with Josh Rosen. No issues there.
Yeah, I mean, look what Nick Mullins did on this team, man. Josh Rosen is more physically gifted than Nick Mullins. Mullins committed turnovers. I think Rosen could do quite well. Although, again, if 13.5% of the salary cap just vanishes because Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, the whole team's going to struggle. You can't really expect any of these guys to just lead the Niners to the promised land when they just lost an eighth or whatever of their salary cap.
I'll also say this, though, too. I don't think that there's really a scenario at all that Shanahan gets fired this year. But if they don't make the playoffs, I think that John Lynch is gone. He's gone.
Yeah, and Kyle starts next season on the hot seat because there's only so many losing seasons you can have.
Correct.
Corey says, what do you think of Lance's coach, Quince Avery? Seems like he's got one guy, Watson, a bust, Haskins, and a few TBDs in Hurts Fields. This guy good. I honestly don't know much about Quincy Avery. What do you think?
Quincy Avery has a lot more than just that.
Yeah,
but he also has two of the top prospects coming out again this year as well. He's got the kid from Liberty and who might have the strongest arm I've ever seen. That kid's arm is ridiculous. Oh, wow. And he's got a kid from Oregon. So listen, Quincy's worked with a lot of guys. I think that he's worked, Haskins is a bust, not because of his talent, by the way. Haskins is a bust because he's an idiot. Like, there's just no better way to call it. He got to the league. He felt himself a little too much, and he quickly worked his way out of the league. If he had actually had a work ethic and frankly, he was just a young kid, and he had success bestowed upon him, and not everybody works well or operates well in that scenario. It's tough, right? Yeah. But he didn't handle it well, and so he quickly worked himself nearly out of the league. We'll see what happens to him this year. I think he's on Pittsburgh's practice squad or something. But yeah, that's what happened with Haskins. I honestly don't think it was a talent issue with Haskins. I don't think Haskins would have been a top 10 guy, but I think Haskins could have had a long career in this league had he had his head screwed on tight when he came into the league.
Jeremy Price says, damn, I feel for Jimmy G's mental health. Grant, geez, haven't even gotten to training camp yet, and there's quarterback controversies. Hey, sorry, Jimmy, your team did this to you. It's not me. Yeah. It's the team. I'm really excited to cover a quarterback competition because usually teams don't want to do it. Like, teams don't want to open it up and let the media decide, let the fans decide. They want to be in control. It's on, baby. It's on like Donkey Kong, and I'm so excited.
Pay me $100. My mental health would be just fine. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. Cabarojo says, hey, gents, wanted to drop a quick props on how you're approaching new media and edifying our fan base. Edification. I'm a big fan of edification and the word blowing traditional media away with content. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Aim to edify. Before we go, I was thinking today, I took a wrong turn last week with Kyle. He pissed me off when he canceled minicamp, and I went real hard on him. And I started looking back and being like, man, I'm coming across like Stephen A. and Skip Bayless, and I can't stand them. And even though some people may think I'm like them, they just freaking yell. And when you watch them, you never learn anything. And I would like to think that me and my esteemed colleagues of panelists have something to offer and that you come away from these shows learning more. I learn from the people I bring on, and I do think I have something to offer the world of football, and I need to not just get into the like, which is I can't stand that morning radio Skip Bayless. It's like, man, you guys aren't actually listening to each other. No one's learning from this. It's just people firing verbal grenades that are pointless. So I'd like to think that's the goal of our shows, is to a little edification.
Yeah, I would agree. And the comment was very nice, by the way. I appreciate the compliment. It's more Grant changing the game. I'm just along for the ride. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people do look at you like that. They think of you as clickbait and all these other things. But I think as time is going on and they're starting to realize who Grant is and these layers get peeled back a little bit more, that they realize that that's not it at all. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, you're here for entertainment purposes, but you're a journalist at heart and you're here to report the news. Yeah, you've got to have an opinion and you've got to have personality, and sometimes you got to be controversial. Otherwise, you don't make a living. But the one thing that I'll give you credit for is that you're not afraid to change your mind on something, right? And a lot of people look at that as a weakness. They're like, well, geez, Grant, last week you were saying this, now you're saying this.
That's true.
Listen, only fools don't change their mind when more information is presented. And you have so many people on your shows that articulate very well.
Yes.
They have great points. They know what they're talking about. And so if they come on your show and they lay out a point or a point of view that you weren't thinking of and you're willing to change your mind, I actually look at that as a strength, not a weakness. And I think a lot of people take that as a weakness, and I disagree. What's
the point of having other people opposing viewpoints on the show if you're not going to listen and reconsider your own stuff?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate you using the word edification. That made my freaking night. That was so nice. I really appreciate it. Was really nice. Thank you.
And he appreciates you trying to roll the R in his name, I'm sure.
I tried. I took French in high school and college, so I don't really know, but I can't understand. I can't understand French at all when I watch French movies. And when I watch Spanish movies or Mexican movies, Spanish speaking movies, I kind of feel like I get it because they speak a little slower and it's more phonetic and I feel like I feel them. But with French people, I'm like, yo, you need this. You remember that scene in Billy Madison where he's studying for the academic decathlon at the end and he has that Haitian guy speaking French hella fast and he's like, slow down. That's exactly how I felt in the AP test, right? Slow down. Open your mouth. What is with this language? So yeah, I don't know how we got to this, but this was a really fun show. Thank you, Jess. It's what happens after dark. Things get crazy. I know we wanted to change the name, but it's a great name. It's a great name.
Can't change the name.
And the fact that it's dusk over here instead of dark, that just makes it ironic, which adds a layer. It adds a layer.
It'll listen. Nice. The hours will change. It'll eventually be dark when we do the show. Yes, 49ers Bay to Bay works because I'm in Tampa Bay. You're in the Bay. Like it works, but we've established after dark we can't.
49ers after dark has a certain je ne sais quoi. I got the idea from Dave Chappelle. Did you watch his thing at he got inducted into some Hall of Fame?
Yeah. Yes.
And Neil was his friend. Neil Brennan, the guy who wrote the show with him, went on and said the way they pitched the show to HBO was Playboy After Dark. So I idolize Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle's the best, man. The Chappelle show is the best show still to this day ever on TV.
It is. And I want one more thing to say. Martin doesn't get enough credit. Everyone talks about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which is a great show.
It is.
Martin was just as good, and Martin Lawrence was just as funny as Will Smith, if not more. Martin Lawrence doesn't get enough credit. Everyone talks about Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle as they should. Martin Lawrence was so funny. I'm just saying.
Martin Lawrence was hilarious, and him and Will Smith are great in the Bad Boys movies together.
So good.
They play so well off each other. Fresh Prince was my jam, though. I mean, listen.
Fresh Prince is great. I watch. They're both on VH1 and BET all the time. I watch them all the time. I like Martin because it's like grown-up stuff. It's him and his wife. It's him and his girls. Him and his friends. Will Smith is like a 25-year-old living at home, which I can relate to. I was me at one point, but
yeah,
I go back. Yo, the Ashley storylines are a little out of pocket, man. It's like, yo, she's 15 right here. What's going on? But
it was a different time, Grant.
It was a different time, everyone. That's our show. We just went a little off the rails. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll be back same time, same place next week. hopefully, as long because you can't ever guarantee that people are going to be a lot. I don't want to say stuff. Kyle, why did you say that?
Did you just go Shanahan?
Why did you do that?
Cut it.
I'm sorry.
Cut it.
Cut it. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next. I'm done streaming for the day, so thank you.